What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with more Destiny 2 news. And of course the news has been rolling out at a pretty ridiculous rate over the past couple of weeks. Today though we get the TWID, so Bungie give us more details about some changes that are coming in the final shape. Specifically they're focused on the Pathfinder system. This is going to be a new progression system for the expansion, so we'll see it on the ritual vendors and the destination vendor for final shape. So we'll talk about that as well as updates to the quest tab, plus Bungie reveals some new emblems that we'll be able to get by watching the final shape raid race, and there'll be an additional buff for brave weapons, specifically the shiny variants, coming up next week. Plus Bungie talk about downtime for the final shape and a few other items which we'll cover in the video. So as always guys, I hope you enjoy this one, but without further delay, let's get into it. Firstly, Bungie do show off some new emblems that we'll be able to unlock by watching world first races for the final shape raid. So firstly, there will be the stand-in salvation emblem, which can be earned by watching at least 2 hours of any Destiny 2 streamer, and that's active between 9:30 AM Pacific time on June 7th and 9:30 on June 9th. Plus there's another one called Roots Remain, and this one's unlocked if you watch at least 2 hours of Destiny 2 Twitch Rivals stream or any participating Twitch Rivals creator. So a couple of cool ones right there. Next up though, Bungie say get your pretty guns, and earlier this week they did increase the drop rates for brave weapons and trophies of bravery, but they say starting on May 28th at 10 AM Pacific, they'll be doubling the drop chance of limited edition versions of brave weapons. So that, combined with the increase they made this week, is going to give players loads of opportunities to grab a few more pretty guns with good rolls. So there we go, that'll be a useful one next week if you want to play a final few days of catch-up. Here though, Bungie talk about Pathfinder. So in terms of what Pathfinder is, they say it's a brand new pursuit system they're introducing in final shape that consolidates bounties, patrols, and weekly vendor challenges into a streamlined system you can access anytime via the director. And different Pathfinders can be accessed from relevant screens of the director by selecting the Pathfinder node or using a hotkey for quick and easy access. And when you open a Pathfinder, we'll be presented with 20 objectives divided into 5 tiers, leading to every Guardian's favourite thing, shiny loot. But to get the loot, we've got to complete objectives and claim them to form a path from the leftmost tier to the right. And while you can progress through all objectives on a Pathfinder without restriction, you'll need to claim at least one objective in each tier before you can claim an objective in the following tiers. So every time we claim an objective, we'll receive rewards, progressing the path towards the final reward and opening new potential paths. And ultimately, they do confirm we'll be able to reset the Pathfinder as well, which will cost Glimmer, and it'll give us a new set of objectives to complete and a new final reward to pursue. And they say once we start resetting, the cards will diverge from those of other Guardians, so they'll be using a mixture of different controls and procedural generation to actually come up with those objectives, which is interesting. And as long as we have the Glimmer to do so, we can continue to reset Pathfinder cards after claiming final rewards as many times as we'd like. They do point out though that the value of the final reward will diminish with resets of the card to a point. However, with every weekly reset, the value of final rewards will also reset. Your objective progress will be lost, and every Guardian will start the week with the same fresh card. So quite an interesting system there, and in terms of where it is, they say Final Shape will launch with 2 Pathfinders, so one's available to all Guardians that replaces the bounty systems and weekly challenges for core ritual activities, and the other will be for the Pale Heart itself. So Ritual Pathfinder provides you with a set of objectives that span all ritual activities. That includes Vanguard Strikes, Nightfalls, Onslaught, Gambit, and Crucible, so that's cool. And some of the objectives can be completed in any of these activities, while others will require us to dive into specific rituals or modes. Plus, an update later in the year of the final shape will make it even easier to get these ritual screens while you're in their activities, as well as making it easier to access the ritual's Pathfinder. For the destination though, they say we can expect the kinds of objectives on the Pathfinder for Pale Heart to roughly align with what we'd expect to see from destination bounties, with the addition of some new location-based objectives called field assignments. And when field assignments are featured on the Pathfinder, you can expect to see them marked directly on the destination map, where you can track them to take advantage of the waypoint system and navigate to the location. And they say the goal of Pathfinder is consolidation, firstly, and they hope to set out a system that's capable of aligning all of the different objectives into one cohesive UI. But the second goal is to give players more agency, and while the bounty systems typically let Guardians pick a handful of fixed bounties that reset each day, the limited choices result in a system that feels prescriptive about how you should play the game. So we should get more ownership over how we engage with the systems and the different objectives when Pathfinders drop. Plus, they point out there'll be no need to visit a vendor or use the companion app to grab bounties in these instances, and no need to balance the inventory of quests and bounties, or to travel to vendors to claim rewards, so that is another benefit. And they say the rewards are designed to encourage completion of many paths over many objectives in each Pathfinder. So they break down some objective rewards here, and that will include 25 vendor reputation and 4,000 XP, with the path completion reward for the first path being an exotic. No idea exactly what that will be as it's redacted, but it's interesting. Plus, it will drop a powerful tier 3 engram with Pale Heart gear and 1 rank of the vendor reputation as well as 25,000 XP, so that's fairly significant. For the second path completion reward though, again, a redacted exotic, a Pale Heart engram which is focusable, 375 vendor reputation, and 25,000 XP once again. Then for path completion rewards 1 through 3, for the third path, we'll get the Pale Heart engram focusable, 375 reputation and 25,000 glimmer, and repeatable completion rewards include World Legendary engrams, 150 vendor rep, and a 4,000 XP. So it gives us a bit of idea right there how this is all going to work. Then for rituals, they say a single instance of Pathfinder will contain objectives specific to each ritual activity, as well as generic objectives that can be completed in any of the 3 rituals. Additionally, on weeks where there's an active reputation booster, the first 3 instances of Pathfinder will contain more objectives associated with that ritual. So if Crucible gets a rep booster, Pathfinder will contain more specific Crucible objectives. With objective nodes awarding experience, like individual bounty completion, plus completing a path is designed to be akin to completing a weekly bounty vendor challenge, and rewards include Prime Engrams, Bright Dust, and XP. However, the vendor challenges are limited to 3 per week per character, and Pathfinder progress is shared across all characters and is infinitely repeatable. They do say reward amounts have been redistributed accordingly, so the first 3 completions drop Prime Engrams, an Enhancement Prism, 150 Bright Dust, and 25,000 XP. The next 7 completions will be an Enhancement Prism again, 150 Bright Dust and 4,000 XP, and subsequent completions drop an Enhancement Core, 30 Bright Dust and 4,000 XP. So on paper, and from what we see there, it certainly sounds interesting, and it's kind of a different approach to a progression system in the game. Of course, in terms of exactly how it feels, we simply won't know until we actually get to play it, but I'm all for Bungie attempting to mix up how we engage with these kind of things, so share your thoughts below. Next though, they speak about updating the quest tab and some quality of life improvements. So starting on June 4th, players will be able to set any quest category on the left column as the default when you enter the quest tab. At the same time, all milestones will now show up on the quest tab, although they will not count against the total amount of quests and bounties that a player can hold in their inventory, and will still be able to hold up to 63 in total. But for players who want to be organised, we've also updated the quest tab so that tracking quests in individual categories will now bring them to the front. And last but not least, if you hover over a quest in the tab, it will let you know when you can launch it directly from the detail screen, so it should be more straightforward to get from checking it to playing it. Overall, I think that sounds like a good move right there. There's certainly been some complaints about the quest tab from since it was introduced, so being able to put the stuff we're actually working on up front is definitely one of the bigger things, I'd say, but let us know what you think. Otherwise, Bungie remind us to use our legendary shards, whether it's to buy raid banners or exchange them for resources at Raoul. Either way, legendary shards are going away at the launch of Final Shape, so only a week or so to actually use them now. Very finally though, the Final Shape will see 24 hours of downtime before its launch, so starting at 9 AM PST on June 3rd, D2 will be brought offline for 24 hours, and when the game's brought back online, Final Shape will launch. And they say we do expect there to be sign-in queues during the first hours and during peak playtimes at different places in the world, so that's kind of to be expected. Hopefully it will be a relatively smooth launch, but keep in mind, all preparation will end at 9 AM PST on June 3rd in terms of in-game anyway, so anything you want to get done before the end of Season of the Wish, be sure to do it before that time. For today though guys, that's what we have to speak about, so as always, share your thoughts down in the comments section, and if you found the video useful, a rating below really does help us out, plus get subscribed and I can keep you posted with more Destiny content. Otherwise though, cheers for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.